And they keep telling you and your dog that you're not parent and child. I'm afraid it's the opposite.
Baba Bowie.
Why is this ride so short? This feels oddly professional.
Want a treat, buddy? You want a treat? Got your ass. Oh. Oh.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's it for today. Most people watching are already subscribed. If you're not yet, now's probably a perfect time to join in. See you next time. Every time like it's the first time. Nature's drive-thru menu.
Escuchamos tu.
Oh my gosh, Emily. Emily?
One day he'll catch it. Happiest little tornado.
Nothing is more fun than witnessing a beanie wearing boots for the first time.
Go.
The effort to resist is there, but it's not really making a difference.
You are supposed to lick it, not put your head under it.
Hi, baby. Can you dance? Look at mama. Hi.
Go on.
¿Qué coles?
Hey kiddo, Bunny is cute, but probably won't threaten your bond with
Kitty, I don't even know how to get her out. Okay, well. Booba! Booba!
Ty, nie masz popławać собаки.
Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, A Day at Home with Pin and Doing Absolutely Nothing in quote. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't and oppose. Like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. This morning began with no alarms, no urgent emails, and no plans scribbled onto sticky notes. The sunlight slipped quietly through the curtains, painting soft golden lines across the bedroom wall. I woke up not because I had to, but because I felt something warm and fluffy pressed gently against my leg. It was Pin. Pin did not bark. Pin did not demand breakfast like a tiny, dramatic king. He simply sighed, a long, satisfied sigh, as if to say, "We have nowhere to be." Isn't that wonderful? I turned to look at him. His fur was slightly messy from sleep, his ears folded in a way that made him look permanently surprised. One eye opened slowly, just enough to check whether I was awake too. When he saw that I was, his tail thumped softly against the mattress. Not fast, not excited, just steady and content. We stayed like that for a while, doing absolutely nothing. Normally, mornings feel like a race. But today, Pin and I let the minutes stretch like lazy cats in the sun. I listened to his breathing. He listened to mine. It felt like our hearts had decided to keep the same rhythm. Eventually, I whispered, "Good morning, Pin." He responded with a dramatic stretch, paws extended forward, back curved, tiny yawn revealing a pink tongue. Then he rested his chin on my arm, as if to say, let's not ruin this peaceful moment with productivity. And so we didn't. When we finally got out of bed, we moved slowly. I made a simple breakfast. Pin followed me to the kitchen, but not because he was hungry. He just liked being there. He sat near the refrigerator, watching me crack eggs and pour milk. Every once in a while, he would glance up at me with eyes so gentle it felt like a compliment. We ate in silence. Me at the table, Pin on the floor beside me. Between bites, I reached down to stroke his head. His fur felt warm and alive beneath my fingers. There is something grounding about touching a living creature who trusts you completely. After breakfast, instead of cleaning immediately or checking my phone, I sat on the floor. Pin joined me. We leaned against the sofa, side by side, facing the window. Outside, the world was busy. Motorbikes passed. People hurried. Somewhere, someone shouted into a phone. Inside, it was just us. Pin rested his head on my knee. I absent-mindedly scratched behind his ear. That was it. No big event. No adventure. No heroic rescue. Just being. And somehow, it felt like enough. By noon, the house had settled into a quiet rhythm. The fan hummed softly overhead. A distant neighbor played music, faint but cheerful. I decided not to accomplish anything today. Instead, I let the afternoon unfold without direction. Pin approved of this decision. We moved to the living room floor where sunlight pooled warmly across the tiles. Pin lay directly in the brightest patch, as if he were solar-powered. I lay beside him, my arm resting lightly over his side. I could feel his steady breathing rise and fall beneath my palm. At one point, I laughed quietly because we looked like two creatures who had forgotten the concept of schedules. Pin lifted his head at the sound of my laughter. His ears perked. His tail wagged once. Then he decided the joke wasn't important and went back to resting. That tiny moment, his curiosity, his quick return to peace, reminded me how easily dogs forgive distractions. Later, I grabbed a book but barely read it. Instead, I watched dust particles float lazily through the sunlight. Pin shifted closer to me, pressing his back against my leg. It was such a small action, yet it carried a message. I'm here. You're here. That's enough. At around 3 in the afternoon, I lay flat on my back and stared at the ceiling. Pin mirrored me by rolling onto his back too, paws bent loosely in the air. His expression was completely carefree. If contentment had a face, it would look like that. Sometimes we think doing nothing is wasted time. But lying there with Pin, I realized it was the opposite. It was time invested in presence. No phones. No scrolling. No comparing our lives to others. Just shared stillness. Eventually, Pin nudged my hand with his nose. Not because he wanted food. Not because he wanted to go out. He simply wanted contact. I gave him a gentle rub on the belly, and his eyes closed instantly in bliss. Trust like that is fragile and beautiful. Animals do not measure love in achievements. They measure it in presence. As the afternoon light began to soften, Pin and I sat by the window again. I noticed small things. The shape of his whiskers, the tiny scar near his paw from a childhood tumble, the way his ears twitch when he hears birds outside. How many of these details would I miss on a busy day? Doing nothing had allowed me to see everything. When evening arrived, it did not feel like the end of something productive. It felt like the gentle closing of a peaceful chapter. I made a simple dinner. Pin waited patiently, his tail sweeping the floor in slow arcs. After he ate, he didn't run off to play. Instead, he returned to sit beside me, as if the entire purpose of the day had been togetherness. We stepped outside for a short walk just before sunset. The sky was painted in soft orange and pale pink. Pin walked close to my side, not pulling ahead, not lagging behind, just matching my pace. That small synchronization felt symbolic. Humans and animals sharing the same rhythm, the same earth beneath our feet. When we returned home, the house felt warmer somehow. Not physically, emotionally. We curled up on the couch. I wrapped a light blanket around us. Pin rested his head on my chest this time, and I could feel his heartbeat, steady, calm, unwavering. In a world that constantly pushes us to achieve more, buy more, prove more, a dog like Pin teaches a radical lesson. Existence is already valuable. As the lights dimmed and night quietly settled outside, I realized something important. Today had been unproductive by society's standards. No milestones reached. No tasks completed. No visible success. Yet my heart felt full. Pin gave a final sleepy sigh and drifted off. I followed soon after, grateful not for what we did, but for what we shared. Spending a day doing absolutely nothing with Pin reminded me that value does not always come from productivity. In modern life, we are constantly pressured to move faster, earn more, and accomplish bigger goals. But animals live differently. They remind us that presence is powerful. When we sit quietly with a dog, we practice patience, empathy, and attentiveness without even realizing it. To apply this lesson in daily life, start by scheduling small, nothing moments. Put your phone away for 30 minutes and simply sit with your pet or a loved one. Observe them. Notice their breathing, their expressions, their tiny habits. This builds emotional awareness and deepens connection. Secondly, learn from animals about unconditional acceptance. They do not judge our bad days. They simply stay beside us. We can offer that same gentle loyalty to the people around us. Finally, remember that relationships between humans and animals are partnerships built on care and respect. When we slow down, we treat animals not as accessories to busy lives, but as companions with feelings and needs. In doing so, we create kinder homes and kinder hearts for everyone involved.